is right when I open, so we'll do that first. Okay. All right, good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to tonight's meeting of the North Central Texas College Board of Regents. I'd like to thank our fellow regents, Chancellor Wallace, and members of the administration staff and faculty for everyone joining us this evening and being here. We have a full agenda tonight, and I appreciate everyone's time, preparation as we conduct the business of the college. At this time, I'd like to officially call the meeting of the North Central Texas College Board of Regents to order. Before I begin, I just want to remind everyone about our microphones. The microphones are important, particularly for those joining us remotely and for the official recording of the meeting. When you're recognized to speak, please make sure you speak directly into the microphone so that we can hear everyone and so that your comments are properly captured in the meeting recording. Our IT staff will be managing the microphones throughout the meeting and will turn them on and off as individuals are recognized to speak. So there's no need to worry about adjusting the microphone yourself. When you're recognized, simply speak toward the microphone and IT will take care of the rest. With that, again, welcome to tonight's meeting. We have important business before us, and I will appreciate the board's continued commitment to North Central Texas College and, most importantly, to the students and the communities we serve. We will now proceed with the agenda. All right. Item number 3 is data-informed governance, the DIG module videos. So just to inform everyone, as members of the Texas Association of Community Colleges, we're asked to can do continuing education, and this is part of our continuing education. So we're going to do it tonight together as a board so that we can check off the box that we have done our continuing education. And so at this time, if everybody will just turn their attention to the training.
To building data competency for Texas Community College trustees. This learning series is designed to empower you and your fellow trustees with the knowledge and confidence to lead through data-informed governance. Completing this series will strengthen your ability to partner effectively with your CEO in using data to guide strategic direction, use data to inform policy decisions and resource allocation, and foster an institutional culture where data informs continuous improvement. This introductory module provides an overview of data-informed governance, introduces you to the framework guiding this learning series, and addresses why these skills matter and why now. As an institutional leader, you have the opportunity and responsibility to use data and analytics to drive transformation and affect student success. Your journey toward data-informed governance starts here. Let's start by understanding what you'll learn in this introductory module. By the end of this module, you will know what to expect throughout this learning series, recognize why these skills are critical for your role as a trustee, be able to identify core principles of data-informed governance, recognize your responsibility to build data competency, and understand both your individual and collaborative responsibilities in this work. Now let's explore how this learning journey is structured. This series consists of 11 modules, including this introduction and a concluding module. Each module is self-guided and easily digestible, each lasting only 5 to 7 minutes. The modules follow a consistent format, helping you to build your data competency step by step. The 9 core modules are organized around the Board of Trustees Data-Informed Governance Framework, which we'll call the DIG framework for short. These modules cover defining clear objectives, defining goals for data identification, guiding data collection, making sense of the data with your CEO, considering context and expertise, making informed governance decisions, taking action and evaluating outcomes, building a data culture, and ensuring privacy and ethical data use. Every module includes resources to help you apply what you've learned in your governance role, while pre- and post-assessments will help you track your progress. Before diving into the DIG framework itself, let's clarify an important distinction: the difference between data-driven and data-informed. While these terms are often used interchangeably, they represent two fundamentally different approaches to decision-making. A data-driven approach relies entirely on quantitative data to make decisions. A data-informed approach, on the other hand, values quantitative data but also takes into account qualitative insight and human judgment. As trustees, a data-informed approach empowers you to ask not just what the data says, but why it matters, how it aligns with institutional priorities, and what the broader implications might be. With this distinction in mind, let's take a closer look at data-informed governance and the DIG framework. Data-informed governance involves using data and analytics to guide the college's decision-making processes in alignment with its goals, vision, and strategic plan. This approach is dynamic and involves an iterative cycle of data collection, analysis, decision-making, action, monitoring, and evaluation. The Data-Informed Governance DIG framework is a practical guide for boards to effectively incorporate data into their governance practices. It outlines 9 interconnected steps that assist trustees in defining objectives, analyzing data, making informed decisions, and evaluating outcomes. As we move through each module, you'll gain a deeper understanding of each step and how they work together to support effective governance. Throughout this series, we'll emphasize 3 critical themes that cut across all 9 steps of the DIG framework. They are the importance of the board-CEO partnership, the distinction between governance and operations, and the connection to your college's strategic plan. You may be wondering, why does any of this matter, and why does it matter now more than ever? As a community college trustee in Texas, you're in the midst of navigating considerable change. House Bill 8 transformed community college funding, creating both opportunities and challenges. The new outcomes-based funding model rewards colleges that can effectively collect, analyze, and act on student success data. The path forward favors those who can use data effectively.
It's time to introduce you to Bluebonnet Community College. With 8,000 students, Bluebonnet offers transfer pathways, career-focused programs, and workforce certificates. Like the board you serve on, Bluebonnet's trustees are navigating the transition to the state's new funding model. In each module, Bluebonnet's trustees will be faced with a real-world scenario, and you will follow along to see how they navigate these situations and how data-informed governance helps them make better decisions for their students and community. While Bluebonnet is a fictional college, the opportunities and challenges they face are not unlike those you may be experiencing at your own institution. By following their journey, you'll gain practical skills you can apply in your governance role.
Throughout this series, you'll gain practical skills to apply data-informed governance in your trustee role, improving decision-making around policy and resource allocation, aligning with strategic goals, and supporting student success. These skills will strengthen your effectiveness as a trustee and support both your college and students it serves. Before moving on, take a moment to explore the additional resources for this module. Complete the pre-assessment, review the discussion guide, and check out tools like the Texas Trustee Handbook and the DIG Framework Overview to support your learning. Next, we'll be digging into the first step of the framework, defining clear objectives.
At this point, so far, the folks that are putting these together have done the first 2, so that's all we have.
That's as far as they've gone.
After we see the next one, it's as far as we can go at this point, yes.
At their last board meeting, the trustees at Bluebonnet Community College used the data-informed governance framework to establish an objective to increase the number of students who complete credentials of value in healthcare by 20% within 3 years. It's been a month, and the board reconvenes, carrying the momentum from their last meeting. Establishing a clear and strategic objective was a great start, but it was only the beginning. Trustee Sarah Franklin voices what many of her colleagues are thinking. We've set our objective, but now what? How do we track progress or decide on what actions to take? I know we need to look at completion numbers for all our healthcare programs, but beyond that, I'm just not sure. This honest reflection captures a common challenge. Knowing you need data is different from knowing what data you need. But how do you identify what data you need?
Today, you'll learn how to turn broad concerns into strategic questions that drive data collection and data-informed governance decisions. When you're done with this module, you will be able to identify the types of questions most appropriate to ask, understand where strategic questions originate from, formulate questions that can be answered with data analysis, and recognize different types of data to understand when and how they should be used. In Module 1, you learned about the importance of starting with clear objectives. In this step of the DIG framework, you'll learn how to take those objectives and develop strategic questions. Strategic questions guide data collection and ensure what is gathered and presented will be what you need to make data-informed decisions. When developing strategic questions, you should always start with your strategic objectives and ask what you need to know to assess the current situation, ensure progress, and make informed decisions. Developing strategic data questions is collaborative work between you, your fellow trustees, and your CEO. Your role is to identify what you need to know to make governance decisions. Your CEO's role is to identify what data are available and what questions can be answered given the college's resources. As a trustee, it is your responsibility to ask big-picture questions, not get involved in day-to-day operations. Instead of asking how many students are enrolled in each section of college algebra, ask, are the math pathway reforms implemented last year improving student success in gateway courses? Now that we've covered the what and how of asking strategic data questions, let's discuss the types of data that can be used to answer them. Not all data are the same. Understanding the type of data you are working with and which are most appropriate to use and when will help you ask better questions and interpret results more effectively. Now let's look at the difference between quantitative and qualitative data, then explore how time impacts data and data use. Quantitative data are numerical and measurable. These data provide insight into how many, how much, or how often something occurs, and allow you to track trends and make comparisons. Enrollment, persistence, and completion rates are examples of quantitative data. Qualitative data are descriptive and non-numerical. They provide additional context and deeper understanding of decisions, actions, and outcomes. Qualitative data help answer the why and how questions that numbers alone cannot address. Open text responses from surveys, focus group discussions, interview recordings, and observational videos are examples of qualitative data. Both quantitative and qualitative data are essential for data-informed governance. Quantitative data might show a drop in completion rates, while qualitative data from focus groups could reveal that required courses are only available during hours inaccessible to working students. Together, these insights help boards consider how institutional policies impact student success. Time also impacts data, and understanding when and how to use different time-based data is an important part of data-informed governance. Trend data show patterns over time, helping identify whether conditions are improving or declining. Retention rates over a 5-year period are an example of trend data. Snapshot data, on the other hand, provide a picture at a specific moment. Snapshot data are useful for understanding current conditions. The current semester's retention rate is an example of snapshot data. Another important distinction is between data that predict future outcomes versus data that show past results. We call these leading and lagging indicators. Leading and lagging indicators have been widely researched in higher education, and their use can transform how you leverage data for governance. Leading indicators predict future outcomes and as a result allow for proactive interventions. Research has identified several key leading indicators for community college student success, such as first-year credit accumulation and gateway course completion in math and English. Lagging indicators show results after they've occurred, like graduation and transfer rates. Unlike leading indicators, lagging indicators reflect outcomes for students who have already moved on from the college, making data less actionable for immediate intervention, but still provide insights to improve future policy revisions. This distinction is critical given that state appropriations for Texas community colleges focus on student outcomes. Completion metrics are lagging indicators. To improve those long-term outcomes, your team will need to pay attention to leading indicators, such as the number of credits that students accumulate in their first year.
Let's return to Bluebonnet Community College, where the trustees are working on turning their objective into actionable questions. Following Trustee Franklin's comments about not being sure what data would be most helpful, the trustees started suggesting all the data points they might need. The list grew quickly: enrollment numbers by course, pass rates by instructor, equipment costs per program, student attendance patterns, clinical site availability, and more. Board Chair Lisa Chen paused the discussion. "I appreciate everyone's enthusiasm," she said, "but I think we're getting into operational details." Remembering the principles of the DIG framework, Chairperson Chen had an idea. "Let's refocus our conversation," she said. "Rather than list all the data we may possibly need, let's instead think about what questions we need to answer so that we can make informed decisions in support of our objective." With this shift in perspective, the board started a new discussion, now focused on developing strategic questions. In the end, they came up with 3 data questions. What are the current completion rates by healthcare program and student demographics for the last 3 years? What are students' first-year credit accumulation rates by healthcare program and student demographics for the last 3 years? Which healthcare programs show the greatest disparities in first-year credit accumulations and completion rates, and what factors contribute to these gaps? By the end of the meeting, the board was satisfied with where they landed, and the CEO, Dr. Emilio Martinez, was confident that the college's institutional research team could provide analyses to answer these questions and support the board in making informed policy and resource decisions.
Strategic data questions bridge the gap between your objectives and actionable insights. By focusing on governance-level concerns and maintaining alignment with your strategic goals, these questions ensure that the data analyses presented to the board are relevant and support effective decision-making. Remember, your role is to identify what you need to know to make policy and resource decisions. Your CEO and institutional research team will then determine how best to gather and present that information. In the next module, we'll explore how to work with your CEO and institutional research team to ensure the right data are collected and analyzed to answer your strategic questions. For now, use the discussion guide to reflect on your board's current objectives and consider what questions you need data to help answer. Be sure to review the additional resources provided as well.
There is discussion guides, as was mentioned, and we'll make sure that we get those and links out to you for either rewatching this information or reading through some of the material and the extra resources. All right, at this time, I wanted to also indicate that we do have a quorum, of course, this evening, and we have Mr. Krebs is online, not able to be here. He was called away for work. All right. At this time, I'd like to ask everybody to please stand. I'm going to introduce our person who will be giving our Pledge of Allegiance. It's Maria Puga, is a student leader at North Central Texas College, serving as the resident assistant and working with the Red River Promise program through her roles on campus. Maria enjoys supporting others, building connections, and creating a welcoming environment where students feel included and supported. This December, she will graduate from NCTC with an Associates of Arts degree. As a resident assistant, Maria encourages students to get involved, meet new people, and make the most of their college experience. Her leadership and commitment to supporting students will allow her to proudly represent NCTC Residence Life at Texas Women's University during the Student Leadership Conference. As a proud Roaring Lion, Maria will bring her passion for leadership, service, and student success to this experience. After graduation, she plans to continue her education in respiratory care program with the goal of becoming a respiratory therapist. We are proud to have Maria represent NCTC Residence Life and look forward to seeing her continue to lead, inspire, and make a positive impact wherever her journey takes her. Congratulations. All right. Item number 5 is, do we have any citizens that have asked to address the board? Sandy, do we have anyone this evening? No, we don't. Okay, thank you. Item number 6 is the Chancellor's report. Dr. Wallace.
I'm going to make this very easy on you. It is at your desk. It is my annual report, and I know you can read. And so we will follow up on any questions you have at my evaluation time period on the September date later on, but that is the yearly report. Excited to see some student highlights in it and some of the accomplishments we've made this last year. So my report is included in your documents there.
30 is what I have on my calendar, just so everybody remembers. That's a Friday, by the way. All right. The next item is our regular reports, and let's see here. Oh, yes. The first regular report would be the Executive Committee. We did meet on August the 25th at 8 a.m. We have always review the board agenda for this meeting. We have an annual review of the internal operations and procedures. We discussed the transition item for proceeding of any board member that needs to step aside. We reviewed the Board of Regents 26-27 calendar, a budget update. We had a confidential report to the board, and then we talked about a search committee for the provost. So then we adjourned at 9 a.m. The next one would be the Finance Committee.
We also met on August the 25th at 9 a.m. Ms. Ferguson was absent due to illness, but Dr. Wallace and Ms. Debbie Craig helped lead the meeting. We had to table an item about closing some bank accounts. We did have a budget update that we'll review later in the meeting. We got an update on the projects related to the 2026 maintenance notes. We discussed a local policy update. Briefly reviewed August financials, and then we also got an update from Dr. Wallace about funding regarding HB 8, and then we adjourned at 10 o'clock.
Okay, thank you for that report. Building Committee?
We also met on August the 25th, and we discussed the maintenance note projects as well. The 800 building roof is complete. The HVAC replacement is complete on the 800 building as well. The welding exhaust for the 2100 building is complete, and we're starting roofing projects on 600, 400, and the 500 buildings in mid-September. Some of the summer projects that were completed are the outdoor riding arena resurfacing. The fence on the north side of the outdoor riding arena is going to be completed soon. Bonner Hall and Hayes Hall cosmetic repairs are completed. The parking lot striping and fire lanes are complete as well. Then we also talked about the Clark Hall construction. And as you can drive by and see, there's a lot of the steel and structural is obviously complete. The first floor plumbing is in progress. Exterior sheeting is in progress. Roofing is in progress, and the dorm's on track for February of 2027. And then we adjourned.
Thank you for the report. All right, the next item is the reports to the board, and our first one is our July financials. Ms. Ferguson.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Okay. The financials that you have are the results of operations through July of 2026. So we have one more month, which today's the last day of, and then we will be wrapping it up for the year. The auditors have been busy this summer, pulling different samples and for student financial aid and really starting their review of everything. They will physically be on campus the first week of November to do what I'll call the heavy lifting. It'll be up to us to have financials ready for them to review and the report. Everything is going very smoothly, and really do not expect any hiccups, if you will. When you look at the financial results, you'll see right now it shows that we have $87 million in revenue, $74 million in expenses. And the one thing that I would bring to your attention there is that we've got about $13 million in other income or unusual items. And so if you were to back that out, it's going to be very close to a break-even situation for this year. When you're looking at the investment report, which is on page 10, you will see in the top part of that some distributions under MJ Cox and Red River Promise. And you'll see that those say that we distributed $1 million for each of those. But what I want to point out to you is when you go to the next page and look under Treasury Cash Reserves, there's a deposit there of $2.2 million. And so what we did was we pulled that money out of the tax pool investment accounts and put it over into a one-year treasury so that we could earn a little bit of extra money on that because we were not going to need that during the next fiscal year. Excuse me, my voice is just kind of giving out on me a little bit. The reserves for the board, you can see that those remain strong. They're at $17 million. And as Ms. Morris mentioned, we have a couple of policies that we are asking you to review. One of those policies is to allow us as investment officers to look at investment opportunities that exceed 1 year. Right now, based on the current policy, if we want to invest in anything greater than 12 months, we have to bring that back to the board each time and ask for permission to do so. We would ask that you lengthen that time to 3 years. That's still very conservative when you're compared to other community colleges in the state. A lot of the colleges go 5 to 6 years. I feel like 3 is adequate for what we have, and that will be the change that we are asking you to consider and approve. The other policy that we're asking you to review has to do with purchasing. When you look at, again, what our current policy states, it states that any purchase that is not in the budget must be approved by the board, no matter the amount. It could be, it states that any purchase not included in the original budget must be approved by the board. So it could be a purchase for $50. Maybe we got a grant for $500 and we want to go buy something, but because that wasn't in our original budget, we would have to bring that back to you and ask for your approval to spend that. And what we are asking that you consider changing that to be is that if it's any purchase over $100,000, again, that's very consistent with state law and with other community colleges in the state. And that concludes.
At this time, it's zero?
At this time, it says no matter the amount, if it is not in the budget, the board must approve it.
A new policy manual that had updates. This is a local. And so as a result, we're asking, this is your read period. You'll actually vote in September for this. But that's the point, is the new, the new policy's a little bit, 50 cents, and we have to bring it to you. And so we would like it to be the 100,000, which is in state alignment that they passed last session for the cap for what you have to get board approval anyway. It used to be 50,000, now it's 100. But yeah, that's why we're saying that amount would be a more reasonable amount. And so you have your policies tonight that you will vote on in September. This is your first read.
And that is it, unless anyone has any questions for me.
Questions? Okay, no, thank you very much. All right, the next report to the board would be the External Affairs Annual Report from Ms. Sharp.
Thank you so much for letting me come and share with you our external funding report. We get to do that on an annual basis. It's always a great time to get to kind of shout out the support that we receive from the board, from the community, from our faculty and staff. And as you know, the purpose of external affairs is really to provide leadership in meeting the needs of the community. It's helping to make the communities know what the college offers, but also then that external funding aspect to help raise money to support the college. And each of you got a copy of our 25-26 external funding report. I'm going to just hit the highlights so that you can kind of see some of the things that we have been doing. So I'm going to start with the foundation. Some of you have already seen this. We're very excited that we reached the 19 million mark. That was one that we went back and forth for several months to reach. As the foundation board would say, oh, we had to pay those scholarships. And so we didn't make that 19 million, but excited to say at the end of July that we were able to make the 19 million. And I just did a little comparison. In 1993, we had 350,000, so we've made quite a bit of progress thanks to our community and support that we've received both internally and externally. Specifically for the 25-26 year, we awarded 1,212 scholarships valued at over 800,000. I'm giving you some updated numbers. When we originally published this, we did this for our April Foundation board meeting, and so I'm updating some of the numbers since that April date. Also, just wanted to share that since 1986, we've awarded over 30,000 scholarships valued at $2.8 million. So in addition to the 19 million, we've given away 12.8 million. So that's pretty phenomenal, I think, for helping our students be successful with that. Also, from an emergency aid perspective and book fund, we assisted 51 students this past year, and we gave away over $20,000 in that respect. The Red River Promise, our total donations and pledges thus far is about $3.6 million. And then I'm just going to highlight some of our strategic plan key performance indicators. As you know, the foundation also supports the strategic plan of the college. If you looked under the resources section, as well as the branding that Elizabeth will talk about in a minute, but we're very conscious that we need to also be looking at not only the foundation's strategic plan, but the college's strategic plan. I'm going to refer to the list of KPIs on page 5 of the report. Our target for year 1 was 1.8 million brought in, and as of the end of July, it was 2.5 million that we've brought in this year between donations and revenue. Donor retention, we targeted for year 1 was 54%, and as of July, we're at 53%. New scholarships created, we had set a goal of 8, and we've established 14 new scholarships. Active alumni, our goal was 74, and we're at 137. Corporate partners, our goal was 156, and we're at 165. And our endowment, as I mentioned, we have a 5-year goal of $20 million, but as you know, we're at 19 now after the first year, so I know we're going to surpass that goal in the next 4 years. New donors, we had a goal of 106 for this year, and we have 318 new donors this year. Planned giving is another initiative that we're really working on to help the community know that that's an option for them. So Cody Ford has really taken the lead on this and working with getting our planned giving brochures out to CPAs, investment financial planners, attorneys, to let them just plant that seed that if they're working with a client, NCTC Foundation is a way that you can also give. And I will report that this past year I've been working with 3 different trusts, and we should be getting about $2 million once that's all processed and happened. So as y'all know, many of our larger gifts have come from some type of estate or planned giving. The other initiative that we've been focusing on from a foundation perspective is the alumni outreach. That was something our board was very passionate about, to make sure that we did alumni spotlights, we did social media pushes and things, and so working real hard to do that. At this time, I'm going to just ask each of my directors to come up and just give a real brief overview of their accomplishments for this year. So I'd like to invite John Bonifant, who's a director of grants, to share information on the grant program. Elizabeth Abu, Director of Marketing, is going to talk about marketing, and Roger Swift, who's our new Director of SBDC. So if y'all would join me and share real quickly.
Thank you, Debbie. Good evening. During this fiscal year, the Grants Office managed 22 grants, funding a total of $3.5 million of federal, state, and private foundation grant funding. These grants funded programs such as TRIO, Student Services, Talent Search, IT and Cyber Lab programs, continuing education and commercial driver's license programs, OER projects, and new grants to outfit the Gainesville Industrial Automation Lab, as well as coordinated subgrants with Texas Women's University, UNT, and UT Dallas. For the 12-month period coinciding with External Affairs Annual Report, grant development, award, and implementation resulted in the following milestones. 14 grant applications were completed and submitted to the funding agency for review, and a total of possible funding of $5.2 million. NCTC has been awarded 9 of those grants at $2.7 million. NCTC did not receive funding for 1 of those submitted grants at this time, and 4 were pending at the time of a report. Since this reporting period published, NCTC has submitted 8 additional applications for grants and has been awarded 3 of those grants totaling $495,000. Is also expecting another award shortly for the 2026 to 2028 OER program with an additional total of $285,000. The OER effort is almost solely due to the organizational efforts of Jared Ince and Tamar Bell, as well as our faculty and our e-learning staff who did the textbook materials for OER. In this specific case, Dr. Rannis at Higher Education Coordination Board specifically asked NCTC to add effort to our application so that they could award additional funding for this grant. And that is relatively unheard of from the Higher Education Coordination Board. And pending any questions.
Hello. Good evening. Thank you. I'm Elizabeth Abu, Director of Marketing. You have the report in front of you, so you'll be able to see our completed projects. One of our big one was our website this year. You can also see our full fall campaign and then the preview of our spring campaign, which has run since this was published. So proud to say in that one, you can see we did highlight construction management and data analytics. Those were 2 that we worked with instruction on to highlight. That went to over 700,000 emails. We did get 36,000 clicks on that, and what was really important about that was over 38% of those clicks went directly to CTE program pages, and that was a big highlight. We used Perkins to help with some of that, and so doing our best to grow that CTE enrollment as well. And then, as Debbie mentioned, one of the pillars in our strategic plan was brand and community, and so we really leaned into that last year. And over fall and spring, we were at over 30 events in the community, and so we went to everything from parades to sponsorships at anything that they would let us come to, basically. And so I'm very thankful to continuing education and admissions. They both helped us out a lot just to physically be at the events along with my marketing team and recruitment. And so I think it made a big difference. We enjoyed being in the community. We enjoyed seeing potential students and alumni and families who were at the events. And so that's another big push for us this year. We've got a big fall lined up, but very proud to support that pillar in our strategic plan as well by being at those community events. So if you have other questions, please let me know. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Roger Swift. I'm the new SBDC director, so thank you for letting me come up here. Most of you, or some of you, probably remember Lori from before, and if any of you were looking for a guidance on how to retire, I think Lori's kind of got it down. I think she's been on 4 cruises since March. Yeah, so quite a bit. Anyway, I just want to, again, thank you for your time and support. Believe it or not, it's been 40 years since you've been supporting the SBDC, so really thank you very much. Wow. Quite an accomplishment for that. Thank you. So on behalf of NCTC, I just wanted to remind you or give you kind of an idea of what our advisors are out there. So on behalf of NCTC, they're out there always talking to business owners. We do everything from kind of A to Z for the business owners. We help them on their fundings. We help them start their business, if they're looking to sell their business, if they're looking to grow, if they're looking to do some marketing. Our advisors are always out there talking with them and everything. It gives NCTC and the SBDC just a great presence out in the community. So it's a great thing. Just to recap some of our things from last year, we helped create 64 new businesses. We served over 883 clients. That's a huge number and just a huge time commitment for our advisors. So kudos to them. Of the 64 new businesses that we created 327 new jobs, a great community benefit there. And we assisted the businesses with a little over $12 million in funding. Just to kind of bring just a local story at the grassroots level, we had a client that that we've been working with for about 20 months, just south of Denton, and we helped them when they were looking to buy land. We were, right in it, trying to help them and assist them with that kind of offering. When they had acquired the land, then we went and in front of the city and right beside this client and helped them, sell the city on what they were trying to create and, just be a part of. From there, we worked with the permit department and right beside the client, just kind of assisting all the way through. And then, of course, we helped with the funding that they actually ended up getting. So, but the good news is this will be the first building built down in Lake Dallas, commercial building, in about 15 years. So it's a real testament to how the advisors really work closely with the community and whatnot. So thank you again for your 40 years of support. And if any questions that I can answer?
Ready?
All right. Great.
Thank you for your work.
Thank you all very much for letting us share our
So I have to just say, the foundation dollars, when I came to NCTC, we were about 5 million, and to be now almost hitting your first year goal of 20. I know many of you in this room are regular givers, so I think you should give yourselves a round of applause that we're at that point. So thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, the next item is the Emergency and Police. Chief Clemens?
Good evening. I thought they were behind me. I'd like to take a few moments of your time to introduce you to 3 important people that are with the North Central Texas Department of Public Safety. They've recently moved into some important roles that we want to tell you a little bit about. First, I want to introduce you to Douglas Parsons, our new Emergency Management Coordinator. He started on July 1st, and needless to say, he started the ground running with a lot of things going on in our community and here at the college. So we're very proud to have him. He comes from a military background, FEMA background, and he's also a firefighter. So that's very important. That helps us a lot with all the different campuses and all the different emergency modules and things that we have throughout our system. So we're happy to have him here. He has spent the last several weeks getting familiar with the campuses, personnel, faculty, and everybody that's involved in North Central Texas College across the board. So we're very happy to have him here. Obviously, you probably know whether or not we'll probably bring you something in the near future about a report about the more recent activities that have been going on with the threat of fires that have been approaching some of our different areas. So that's been keeping Doug really, really busy. I've told him to please get some rest. We don't want to wear him out and then him leave or something like that. So we want him to make sure that he's important to us right now. I also want to introduce you to Corporal Terry Spector and Corporal Elisa Montez with our police department. They represent a new development structure that we're looking at doing, or we started doing, so that way we can kind of have a more span of control throughout all of our different campuses. It's kind of hard for one person to kind of be touching all of the different campuses that we have from a public safety standpoint. I wanted to put some people in a leadership role so that way I can count on them and call upon them at times when we need that. Not only for police, but for security also that we have throughout our campuses. So currently, Officer Montez is at our Denton campus, Officer Spector is at our Corinth campus, but they both serve as an assistants throughout all of our Denton County campuses throughout, the college. So I'm very happy to have both Doug, Terry, and Elisa in these positions. I'm proud that we're able to continue to build our public safety department. A lot of that is you. You're the one that's actually, allowing us to do that, along with Dr. Wallace's leadership, that has really, really helped us continue to grow. I really appreciate that, and a lot of times you don't hear that from public safety officials, that they don't get the support they need, but I can tell you right now, I've gotten that support not only from this board, but from Dr. Wallace and the other, chancellors and whatnot throughout the college. So I'm very pleased about that. So if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have these folks behind me right now. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, item number 8 is the consent agenda items, which we have item A through F. At this time, are there any of those that we would like to pull off and consider independently? No? All right.
I would like to hear a discussion of the lawn service contract.
Got it. So we will pull off item E and discuss that independently. Prior to that discussion, we'll go ahead and accept a motion, if there are no others, for items A, B, C, D, and F.
I so move.
So we have a motion by Ms. Bellows. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Erica Sullivan. Additional discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Raise your right hand. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. All right, now we'll go ahead and consider the approving of the campus lawn service contract. Mr. Trammell, you might be able to answer questions that we have.
So what questions are we looking for here?
Well, you have a budget of 60 plus 80, so $140,000 presently to maintain our campuses, correct? And so the proposal is, or your item here is that you would spend $144,000 per year to hire a service from the outside of our maintenance. So what would the present maintenance be doing, since they don't have those responsibilities, and how would you be offsetting maintenance? Would you have a reduction in maintenance since you're spending money on a lawn care service?
So we recently, we had a guy that put in his 2 weeks. He's no longer with us. And so instead of hiring him, the guy that's mowing, the employee that's mowing right now, he's gonna go back to fill that spot if this gets approved. So right now, so we have, let's see here. So yeah, that's gonna, we only have one full-time guy doing lawns right now, not including equine. The guy, equine, they'll still be over equine, mowing that facility and doing the brush cutting. But John, who does all the mowing around campus, he's gonna be doing other stuff.
Like what?
So we're gonna be catching up on all the little stuff around campus. Really just that way we can knock out the smaller projects we have going on, just little stuff, painting, little repairs here and there. He's gonna be just able to help out whenever needed.
This is Mr. Trammell's first time before the board, so that's always a fun activity, right? Several things I would add to that, and Ms. Ferguson can also add that we've looked at is, as we have been able to grow the taxable values in Cook County, a result of that is an increased amount of M&O monies coming to the college, which is a great place to be. Those have been absorbed in specific things in Cook County. So in other words, none of those monies, we have to make it very clear, none of those monies ever leave this campus. They're not used for any other campus or any other kind of development of programs or anything, but they are being utilized to support programs that are centric to Cook County. For example, the ADN program, some of those things. What we found looking at this is that we're going to be able to migrate more of our M&O rate to doing projects and focusing maintenance employees on the smaller projects that they can accomplish. And so this proposal, as presented, has eliminated a position. And when you put the position together with the benefits, that's around $60,000 traditionally. Plus, we're having to maintain a lot of equipment we'll no longer have to maintain at the same level. So we have to make sure we always have an up-to-date lawn mowers, the weed eaters, those things. They do all of this maintenance in a day, so they come in a day, make that happen that week, and they're not disturbing instruction as much. We've had that kind of concern through the years where it gets really noisy if you're sitting next to and you've got that. And we believe that we're going to get a better overall value for that. But Annette, you may want to point out, we kind of think it's really kind of a wash in the overall expenses.
It is. The other thing that this new contract will include is we spend money every year right now replacing plants and updating beds and all of that. And all of that is rolled into this contract.
So it offsets an employee.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. It is inclusive of several things that are part of the maintenance budget presently. So that would be included in this contract that we're considering, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. It's beginning to make more sense.
Mm-hmm. And to add to this, I mean, so we have all these flower beds around here, and we're doing our best to maintain them, but it's not working as well as we'd like. So what we were thinking about doing is budgeting another maintenance person just to take care of flower beds.
Whoa.
We were.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
okay.
We were.
Yes. So with this package, I even looked at that, because we would have to hire somebody to come in, be basically full-time weeding, trimming, replacing plants, all this stuff. So that I took that into account also. So in addition, and right now we were able to get by with one full-time grounds maintenance employee, and he's been able to keep up. It was hit or miss there for a while when we were getting all the rain, but he was able to keep up. And ideally, we would normally have another part-time employee helping him out. We didn't do that this year because we got lucky and then it stopped raining. So
No, we didn't get lucky. No, sorry.
Well, in this sense. But so we took that into account also, because we would have to hire another full-time employee just to take care of the flower beds.
And I think the big piece is when you're including the materials, when you're including the plants themselves, when you're including the personnel behind that, when you've not filled a position. And to Alan's point, we have over the last 2 or 3 years talked during the budget process about adding additional maintenance just for landscape, but we haven't done it. And this keeps us from having to look at that again. Those are what comes up to a very good wash. And in fact, maybe even a benefit later on down the road as we see this move forward and as we give raises, et cetera. It may be that it pluses us on the better side. So.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, so if we would like to move forward, we need a motion to approve the campus lawn service as presented.
I move that we accept the campus lawn service contract presented by Mr. Trammell.
All right, we have a motion by Dr. Bellows. Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Henderson. Additional discussion at this time? All those in favor signify by saying aye and raise your right hand.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. All right, we're down to item number 9, this discussion and action items. So this is the consideration, item A, is consideration for approval of the 2026-2027 NCTC budget. Ms. Ferguson.
Thank you. Part of your package includes the most recent budget proposal. It's on pages, yeah, it's toward the end, like 81, 80.
Oh, here it is.
This proposed budget is not terribly different from the first one that you received. There's been a few little tweaks here and there, but it is basically the same budget. When you look at it, it appears to have an increase of over $2 million in revenue. A lot of that is just passed through. Specifically, since we've changed the bookstore program, we would be collecting like $2.3 million in revenue for the bookstore, but then we just turn right around and pay that out to Barnes and Noble.
Could you say again what that figure was?
It's about 2.3. You know, another increase is going to be the increase in the debt rate for taxes with the issue of the new tax note. Then we also increased our debt collection a little over $700,000. It was close to $800,000. Those are the main components of that increase that you see listed on that budget.
Do we have questions?
There are several items that there are increases in. I know this is really tight. I'm not trying to be real nitpicky, but I know that we're in tight times. So there are several, like if I'm looking at the account funds, the very first section, the 1,000 to 6,030. Are there any of those that have increases of significant amounts? For instance, there was a huge decrease in administrative affairs.
So I can answer that one. So the decrease you're seeing in administrative affairs was what was an administrative affairs vice chancellor equivalency that I eliminated in the budget. So that was been Mr. Ball's previous positions and the budgets associated with that. So those were taken completely out, honestly, and then we've used funds where we needed them to fill in that workload. But that's a big hunk right there.
Okay. Physical education was down almost 500,000. So where is that now?
That's distributed out within the athletic budgets, because before, all of the coaches were reported under physical education, in spite of the fact that many of them were not teaching courses. And so any coach that is not teaching a course is now being charged directly to the sport that they are coaching.
So Dr. Bellows, about 2 years ago, I began to migrate all the coaching staff off of faculty contracts and on to 12-month at-will, and we only have 2 coaches that are still remaining on a faculty contract.
So physical education now has 173,000. What do we do in physical education? What is that? We don't really have PE courses.
So your physical education salaries, we do have PE courses. We still have online jogging, walking, and we still have kinesiology. We still have training courses as a lot of the athletes are taking for transfer. You still have PE requirements for certain transfer universities. The other piece is you've got 2 of our coaches are on PE faculty salaries that still are also coaching. So they're teaching a load that they are required, plus they are a coach. So those are still inflated over what would be normal PE budget only. If that sat alone, they don't teach as many courses as they once did, and that's why we started moving coaches to non-faculty appointment. But we do still have, Dr. King can attest, pretty robust number of physical education kinesiology. Yeah. This of well, but
And I would understand that our athletics programs have the understanding that they are to encourage their students to complete programs so that we can receive funding from those?
that, in fact, just all the coaches and our AD, Van Hedricks in the back there, he can attest. We all met together, had conversations, brainstormed around how do we get more retention out of our athletes, looked at specific programs that it's hard to retain because of the nature from us. A top priority right now, bringing the board report that in the near future as far as and how many of our student athletes successfully.
Comments, Ms. Ferguson?
Only if you have additional questions.
Okay. We are looking for a motion to approve the 2026-2027 NCTC budget. We have a motion by Ms. Morris. Do we have a second? Second by Erica Sullivan. Additional discussion.
One other statement we failed to make is there is a 3% COLA in this for all staff and faculty, so there is a cost of living adjustment. 3.
Okay, we do have a motion and a second. Additional discussion from the board. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raise your right hand. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Unanimous. And
He can't raise his hand virtually.
he voted, yes. His hand is raised, he said. Okay, thank you. All right, so the next item would be item B, is the consideration of proposing the ad valorem tax rate for the 2026-2027 budget. Ms. Ferguson.
Yes. On page 83 of your book, you'll see the action item that's related to this. Now, I want to clarify that you are not adopting the tax rate tonight. This is a proposed rate, and the rate that we have used in creating this budget, which is option C of your agenda item, the .11601, and this is a rate that is just below the voter-approved rate. It is above the no new revenue rate, and it is above, of course, our current rate as well.
Okay, I do know this requires a roll call vote.
It does. So,
Okay.
So you've got 3 options you can discuss ahead of, or anyone can make a motion to make one of those the option, and then you can discuss, but it is a roll call for the final vote.
And
it's a
she,
proposal.
it's a
You're
proposed.
proposing.
Right.
And we can change our mind.
Yes, you absolutely could, yes.
We'll come back to you in September and ask for the adoption of the rate.
And then we have to have 3 hearings?
No, this requires only 1 open hearing, that's all, yeah. And typically, the board's done that at the September meeting
Right before
they,
the actual
before they
adopt. Okay, excuse me, so Ms. Ferguson, just to make sure, the current budget that we just reviewed, used option C, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. All right,
The one thing I'd offer the board is just insight, is there is great legislative conversation about moving community colleges to the same restrictions for tax increase that counties and cities are already seeing. That is something that is major consequence to all our community colleges. It is a legislative agenda, I believe, will be for the Texas Association of Community Colleges, because it's bluntly, it's taking away local control of you all as elected officials, but I do believe it will be on the lips and the conversation of the legislature, and I do foresee it going to the 3.25. I really do. And so this, I'm just letting you know that this will change how we do these in the near future for next year's budget for sure.
we have to take action on it at all tonight?
You have to propose a rate or it delays the entire process, but you're not, again, you're not voting that that's it.
You know, the other thing too is, I'm sure everybody here can attest to the increase of cost. There isn't anything we buy today that hasn't had an accelerator, how much it costs to operate. And I feel like that this is not something any of us want to happen, but I feel like it's necessary. That's just my personal opinion.
And I kind of put, my perspective is not, is different than an elected official, because I've told even our community, I'm trying to do what's best for the college as we can, and we have to balance that. But one of the things that's consistently interesting to me is when Cook County voted and approved the bond for the Health Science Center and the ITC, we were at 12 cents. And we still are going to hit below that rate at that point, which is something to be said, that means the values are really starting to assist us in making a difference up that we didn't have an option for before. Right. But you're simply saying we're considering, if you do any A, B, or C, whatever you choose this evening, that's what you're considering. You open up for public hearing in September, and then you determine if that's what you want to continue to go with, but you can still go back to option A or B if you decided to in September. It's just a proposal for us to put in the paper to say this is what's proposed.
All right. I would need a motion as to which option A, B, or C we choose this evening for later discussion and approval in September.
Make that motion.
Okay. Mr. Henderson makes the motion. For which one, Mr. Henderson? Which one?
The consideration of the, is that the one that we were doing?
Yeah, which option, A, B, or C?
B.
B? Wait, I think we said we were talking about C, but, all right, let's make sure now. What was included in the budget to prepare the budget was option C.
That's correct.
Okay.
So what kinds of things would we have to cut out of the budget in order to do a different option? What would be the things that you would go after first?
Well,
Surely you looked at,
we would have to look at salaries. We would have to look at positions. I mean, when most of your budget is people, that's where the cuts would come from.
And the budget as it sits today, the one iteration between the original budget you received a few months ago and this one is we have already cut 1.1 million in staff positions. Now, those were open, not filled. That did not affect any current employee. We were not in a RIF of any kind. You just decide, okay, we can hold off till we see where tuition and revenue is, when we see what enrollment becomes. But we did take out 1.1 million. I would argue that if you have to carve out, it could also put at risk, it can put at risk the COLA a little, but mainly it's putting at risk just your general M&O rate to try to figure out what we're doing there, because these monies aren't specifically salaries. That's the challenge NCTC has over other community colleges. Because we have a lower tax rate, our taxes really don't cover as much of our salaries as they might at a college that has 80% of their revenue coming from taxes, like a Del Mar or something like that. So.
some of the reasons this is having to be discussed like it is today is because of the funding model from the state.
Yeah, we would be in such wonderful position if the state had paid us the $4.7 million we are owed. But that is not going to come. Even if, they would have to your point, Mr. Grime, they'll have to go into legislative session, they'll have to do a supplemental bill, pass that bill, and that bill would be about $560 million to pay what they owe the community colleges statewide, and I don't think that's going to happen.
Okay, I'm sorry. So, Mr. Henderson, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was the one. I would just want us to reconsider that on B.
You want to make your motion for B? Okay, so we have a motion made to adopt option B at this time. Do I have a second? Okay, so that motion will die for lack of a second. Okay. All right. Do we have another motion from anyone?
I make the motion that we consider option C, so that we can maintain the staff that we have, and it doesn't jeopardize jobs or the ability to do a great job educating our students.
Okay, so we have a motion by Mr. Grime. Do we have a second? A second by Erica Sullivan. Additional discussion at this time. Okay, so at this time, I'll have a roll call vote. I'll start with Ms. Morris.
Aye.
Mr. Grime.
Aye.
Ms. Bellows. Carla Metzler, aye. Mr. Henderson. Aye. Erica.
Aye.
Aaron. Mr. Krebs? Aye. Okay, very good. Thank you very much. It passes unanimously. All right. I believe that takes us down to the next item, which is our executive session, and we do have reasons to have an executive session this evening. So at this time, I will read a little notice. The board will now recess this this meeting, and go directly into executive session as provided for in the Texas Government Code, Section 551072, deliberations about real property, and Section 551074, personnel matters. Okay, the Vice Chancellors and Dr. Carnes, please stay for this evening's executive session. Thank you all for your attendance. You're welcome to wait outside, and when we're finished, we'll invite you back in if you just choose to stay. Okay, the date is August the 31st, 2026, and the time of day is 7:21, and we will now reconvene into open session. Do we have any action from our executive session?
Madam Chair, with great consideration, the strongest consideration being the financial strength of North Central Texas College, I move that the North Central Texas College Board of Regents approve the discontinuation and closure of the North Central Texas College Flower Mound campus, with all campus operations to cease no later than August 31st, 2027, at the conclusion of the summer 2027 academic term. The board further directs the Chancellor and administration to develop and implement a comprehensive transition and closure plan necessary to accomplish the orderly discontinuation of operations of the Flower Mound campus. Such plans shall include, but not be limited to, number one, academic and student transition. Ensure that students currently enrolled at the Flower Mound campus are provided timely notice and reasonable opportunities to complete their programs, courses, and credentials through the North Central Texas College locations, online instruction, or other appropriate arrangements. The closure shall be implemented in a manner that minimizes disruption to student progress and degree completion. Facilities in operation develop a plan for the disposition, sale, lease, reassignment, and other appropriate use of facilities, equipment, furnishings, and other college assets associated with the Flower Mound campus, subject to applicable law and further board approval where required. Number three, workforce alignment and reduction. As part of the closure, the Chancellor is directed to reduce, eliminate, reassign, or otherwise restructure positions and staffing levels associated with the Flower Mound campus to reflect the elimination of the campus's ongoing operations and the result organizational needs of the college. Positions that are no longer necessary as a result of the closure shall not be maintained solely because of the historical operation of the campus. The administration shall evaluate all affected positions and determine whether employees may appropriately be reassigned to existing vacancies or continuing available and continuing operational needs at other college locations. Where assignment is not reasonably available or appropriate, the administration is authorized and directed to implement the necessary position eliminations and workforce reductions in accordance with applicable law, college policy, employment contracts, and board policy. Number four, financial responsibility. The administration shall take all responsible steps to ensure that the closure results in the elimination or reduction of expenses associated with the continued operation of the Flower Mound campus, and that ongoing personnel, facility, instructional, administrative, and operational costs are appropriately reduced to reflect the campus discontinuation. Number five, board reporting. The Chancellor shall provide the board with periodic updates regarding the implementation of the closure plan, including student transition, personnel changes, facility disposition, financial impacts, and other significant issues regarding board consideration. Number six, effective date. The board authorizes the administration to begin the implementation and transition activities immediately following approval of this motion, with the Flower Mound campus ceasing operations no later than August 31st, 2027. The Chancellor is authorized to take all actions reasonably necessary to implement this motion consistent with applicable law, board policy, and the authority reserved to the Board of Regents.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Second by the motion was made by Dr. Bellows. The second was Mr. Grime. Additional discussion at this time. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raise your right hand. Aye. Opposed? Thank you, Mr. Krebs. Motion carries unanimously. All right, at this time, we'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Ms. Morris, a second by Mr. Henderson. Additional discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raise your right hand. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.